Okay, so forgive me for my moisturization. It's not even that hot today, but taking the knuckleheads for a walk is a slight adventure, even when they are behaving. In which I promptly come in the house and they're not, while I'm trying to do a video. Alright, so I've explained I've explained the perspiration, because it's not hot at all in the pad. It's actually quite cool outside today. But as Sasha gets bigger, it gets a little more fun. So how are you guys doing today? I genuinely hope that you're doing good today, man. Why am I here today? I don't have like my normal thing. I'm not doing any unboxings or any reviews or any gaming streams. I just came to chop it up and talk, you know? So, what do I want to talk about today? I want to talk about your happiness, your positivity, your optimism. But it's important that I put it into context. I don't mean just happiness for no reason. I don't mean just optimistic in the face of insurmountable realism. I don't mean positivity within an avalanche of negativity. Okay? Because for some people that's not possible. So where I prefer to start is having each individual ideal build a principle where you can start from, so that maybe if you are a more pessimistic person, that you may be able to build your way up to being more positive, like even if it's not first nature, like it doesn't always come natural. Say even if you have to fight it a lot. Positivity in itself can be difficult, if you're in a situation or you have some circumstances that are negative. It's not the easiest thing to do to be positive in the face of those things. But one thing that I do believe is on you, just like me and any other human being, is your own happiness. What do I mean by that? Things of this nature are things that you can manufacture, okay? But in order to get to that point, you have to understand that, other people can affect this, but maybe not in the way that it may seem, So say you get to a point where you want to manufacture your own happiness. Say something has happened to you today, in your past, whatever, something that could be trauma, and it's hard to be happy, okay? But manufacturing your own happiness requires you to not let other people's unhappiness drag down your happiness. That doesn't mean that, like, you gotta walk around peeing rainbows when somebody is genuinely unhappy. What I mean is, whether it's a perfect stranger or someone you care tremendously for, if they're having an unhappy moment, it doesn't mean that you have to disconnect from them and you have to go take your happiness and sit in the corner somewhere. What I mean is, if it's possible, try to help that person to look at happiness from your side, or you as the individual happiness, and also the shared dynamic, because a lot of people don't realize that in the depths of unhappiness, it feels like it's only you experiencing it. When someone genuinely cares, if you're unhappy, they're unhappy. Okay? But when you manufacture your own happiness, you build your happiness up in certain ways in life. Okay? So that when you need to put a ray of sunshine on somebody, that you don't run out of your own solar energy, so to speak, you know? Because what help are you if someone you know or love is unhappy and you got a quarter tank of happiness? And that may be just what they need to get through the day, but you end up on E. Okay? So what do I mean by manufacturing your own happiness? Kick back and think to yourself in a quiet moment. What are the things that make me happy? If they're not things, what are the people that make me happy? Or a simple thought exercise. 5 people, places, or things that make you happy. This is an individual exercise that you work on your own in your own time. That doesn't include anybody else. It's a lot easier if these things don't have monetary value, because the richest person can tell you that, yes, that brings you stability, but does it bring you true happiness? You know, some of those people will be honest with you if you catch them in a vulnerable moment, if you have to, depending on the size of the ego, that, you know, sunshine and fresh air might do it for one person. You know, other things might do it for another person. You know, as long as they're not negative things, those are things you can draw on. You know, so the positivity part. This is a personal thing for me because at times in my life, believe it or not, I may not have been such a positive person. And in those times, I genuinely felt like it would hinder me being positive, you know? But as a consequence, I missed out on one of the coolest traits of being a human being, of something that you can build up in yourself. Because if you live long enough, you're going to go through enough negative experiences in life to feel more than human, you know? And the importance is not feeling like you have to be flawless or superhuman or do it on your own. It's just realizing that negative things are going to come. And times where it feels heavy and it's knocking you down a peg, if you've already been working on your positivity, you'll be able to take that and keep pushing, because you're not focused on the negativity that you just experienced. You're focused on pushing positivity to that negative experience and also moving forward in positivity so that you bring positive things back to yourself. You know, and unfortunately, Sometimes it's people with the negative energy. Okay? So in those circumstances, what do? You know? A lot of times people with negative energy don't want to hear positivity. Okay? So at that point, that's when you may take a step back and you may have your own positivity where it needs to be. But as far as trying to share that with someone else, okay, that can only be had when a person is ready. It's not like air. We all need it. We all need oxygen. So from positive or negative, you're going to breathe oxygen. But like for positivity, if you constantly have negative emotions, negative interactions, excuse me, things that seem to a person as a net negative, it may be a genuine struggle for that individual to feel any positivity, let alone try to soak up some from you when you trying to be positive and they going through something that's like, man, this is all negative. When even the worst circumstances you can learn from, none the least being survival. Because it'll teach you that at times in your life, when you let those negative emotions creep in and you felt like the pressure is too much and the negativity is insurmountable, but you're still here, and that in itself is a positive thing. So what I'm using is baby steps to try to illuminate the concepts. We live in an instant gratification culture. Okay, like if we want things to work yesterday, but a lot of these things we're losing as we advance as a species are things that take time, and in a world where it's so bizarre, where we are more isolated because of a lot of features in our lives, but at the same time, we're all in this same arena. So let's say the virtual world, depending on how you are as a person, the algorithm will hack you and show you what I'm talking about. So if you're negative and you feed on negativity, every time you crack open something like that, that's all you're going to see. Which is only like an echo chamber that reinforces a lot of that. So how does that play into you and interrelationships? When you're dealing with your positivity, build it up. Take it with you. If you got something to spare, share it. If you know that you're strong enough to pass some on, and you be alright too, and help somebody else, I suggest to try it. It's fulfilling. Now, the last thing is the optimism. With the first two subjects, say the first two aren't going your way, right? You're having trouble manufacturing your own happiness, and you're having trouble staying positive. With those two things being as they are, just say, for instance, today, how can I be optimistic, TJ, if I'm struggling to be happy today and I have negative experiences today? You can be optimistic by simply telling yourself, okay, I'm going to get through this day. Tomorrow's going to be better than today. Okay? If you don't have that optimism built in, what you can do is you can tell yourself, I'm going to be a better person tomorrow than I was today. I'm going to be a stronger person tomorrow than I was today. And it doesn't immediately put that pressure on you. It actually gives you the rest of the day, technically, to prepare yourself, because we all go through this journey the same way. We only get one trip, and to a large extent, it's a learning exercise. It's an experience, very few of us are going to attain some of these self-healing skills unless we bump our head a few times. In my case, being tremendously hard-headed. Okay, and that's important, man. You have to be able to look in the mirror and understand your flaws to be able to grow as a human being, you know? And I just wanted to share some of these things because, and this isn't directed at one person, a lot of my peers struggle with this, you know? And although I'd like to think I don't look like it, I am a vintage antique, folks, okay? So this shit took time, you know? I can speak the Queen's English, but that's the truth. I only hope that in your journey that you are afforded the peace and quiet, the strength, the wisdom, and the time to be able to make those same observations about yourself that, for instance, that I've made within myself. You know, because though I am far from perfect and I fall short and I'm flawed, you know, I've been able to, over time, work on those things. And they've made life more abundant, you know, and even when things don't work out, you know, I can summon the fortitude to see myself through it, you know. And I just feel like if I get it, I would be selfish if I didn't try to pass it on, you know, when I see other people struggling, you know. I hope you enjoyed this. I'm going to step down for the pulpit, you know. The book of the talking today, chapter 3, verse 2. Holla at me.